could aspire. Well, in 1979, the Amway ruling, the playing field is now well established and identified. The next 3 years, there was an absolute floodgate that was opened. Between 1979 and 1982, 2 million people in the USA alone entered the network marketing industry. 2 million people. And between that time of 1979 and 1982, the die was cast because the incomes became so large. Now the industry was assured. The success, the long-term viability of the industry was assured because now there was proven legal legitimacy, and as a result of the remarkable escalation in incomes earned by leadership of some companies between 79 and 82, now people who had significant positive alternatives began to look to the network marketing industry as a primary source of income as opposed to merely a secondary source of income. By the time 1982, 83, 84 arrived, some of the industry standards were born. In that period of time, companies that have forever changed the network marketing industry came into being. During that period of time was born Herbalife. Now, I have long been an advocate for the entire industry. I believe that network marketing is good. I think that there's a big difference in being a good company and being a good opportunity. I think there are a lot of good companies in this network marketing industry. I think there's another difference in being a good company, a good opportunity, and another difference in being a good opportunity and an opportunity to create wealth. There are a lot of intricacies that come together to make this all possible, but I will always be grateful to Herbalife. I will always be grateful to Mark Hughes for the values that he added to the industry. Herbalife was the first company in the aftermath of Amway, the first company after Amway's first dramatic success to have what I call breakthrough volume experiences and to sustain that volume. We're going to come back around in a few moments. We're going to talk about multiple S-curves. And when we talk about multiple S-curves, we'll talk about Amway, and we'll talk about Herbalife, and we'll talk about Nu Skin. That'll be important as one understands the dynamics of timing in our industry. In that time framework between 1982 and 1984 was born a company called Nu Skin. What was Nu Skin's primary contribution to the industry? Nu Skin was, in my view, critically important because Nu Skin was the first company to truly recognize that leadership in this industry is scarce. In fact, let me just say that leadership is scarce, period. How a compensation plan reacts to that dilemma is of critical importance. You see, Amway was the first really large network marketing company. They paid 3 tiers of leadership. I could enroll you, you could enroll one more person. We would have 3 tiers of leadership, and that would be the level of payout. Quite frequently, one has to search deeper than the first or the second or the third generation to find real leadership. What's the primary value, or at least one of the significant primary values that Nu Skin added to the equation? They were the first compensation plan to pay in 6 levels of depth. And in paying in 6 levels of depth, what were they really saying? They were really saying, we understand leadership is scarce, and we'll understand you're going to have to work pretty deep in the organization in order to find that quality of leadership that will hold things together. What's another tremendous value that Nu Skin added? Nu Skin became a publicly traded company. And not just a publicly traded company, but Nu Skin became a publicly traded company traded on the New York Stock Exchange that has been followed by some of the largest and finest firms on Wall Street. That changed our business. When people were critical or cautionary of the industry, it helped advance my career. When I could say, well, let's find out what Merrill Lynch thinks. Let's just see what Merrill Lynch thinks, because we can review their comments about the network marketing industry as we study Nu Skin. Let's just find out what Goldman Sachs thinks. Let's find out what the various financial firms on Wall Street think. You see, the decision of Wall Street to embrace the network marketing industry, we as an industry owe that in some measure to Nu Skin. They were the first, one of the very first companies at least, to gain the widespread buy-in of Wall Street. When Wall Street said yes, then it started to look silly for us individuals to say no, didn't it? I mean, if Merrill Lynch says yes, who are you to say no? When I meet a person and say, Randy, I don't know about the network marketing industry, I say, well, Merrill Lynch does. They like it. They underwrite companies in the industry. They follow companies. They make positive stock recommendations for companies in the industry. Specifically, here's one Nu Skin. At times in its existence, Herbalife has likewise been a publicly traded company. That further accelerated, I believe, this evolution of network marketing. Well, there are more things that we've learned. Remember I said a few moments ago that we would talk about these multiple S-curves. What do I mean by that? Well, imagine an X and a Y-axis. Imagine an X and a Y-axis. All companies start on the bottom left-hand corner of the graph. Sadly, most companies finish on the bottom left-hand corner. They don't get off the ground floor. But here's the way that it goes. If a company's product or service or opportunity ever stops being obscure and starts to become popularized, there will then follow a period of profound and dramatic growth. Now that's not just true in the network marketing industry. That is typical in business. It starts on the bottom left-hand corner. Most don't get off the ground floor. If the company's product, service, opportunity ever stops being obscure or starts to become popularized, there will follow a period of growth. And then if you shoot an arrow into the sky, it can only go so high, and it will then either stabilize at this new higher level, hence the S-curve. Like this, it will stabilize at this new higher level, or if there's no real fundamental value, then it will roll back down the bell curve as opposed to an S-curve. It's critically important to note that there have been multiple companies in this network marketing industry that have evidenced abilities to have multiple S-curves. Why is that important? If that's not evident, then timing becomes everything. Then if you're not first, you don't really have an opportunity. Then one has to wonder, should I get involved? Because if it's only good because I'm first, then perhaps I shouldn't do it. And so let's go back and review the Amway story again. The company started in 1959, went through a period of unrestricted growth until 1972, reached a level of $600 million in sales. And then that growth was stopped. This is typical. Whenever a dramatic surge of growth goes on for a period of time, there will almost always be some external event that stops the growth. In this time, it was a very profound external event. That was the Amway litigation that stopped the growth. Now, very critical to point out, it did not roll down the backside of the curve. It did not become a bell curve. It sustained itself at a new higher level. How and why? Because all of those people said, I love the product, it works, it's reasonably priced, and the company's continuing to send me my checks, and they keep clearing the bank. That was the first S-curve, and it was fueled by what? A handful of consumer products and the great American dream of free enterprise. Then there's a period of stabilization 4 years long, during which the Amway litigation was argued. Finally, here comes the Amway decision, and that triggered the second S-curve. It was far more explosive than the first, as the company's sales shot straight up. They shot straight up to $2 billion in sales. This was the second S-curve, and the people that you are most familiar with, the names you're most familiar with as the largest earners in that company, were not there at the beginning. They weren't there at the genesis. They didn't participate in the first S-curve. They benefited from the second S-curve. It was larger than the first. It took the company from $600 million to $2 billion in annual sales, and it was fueled by what? Product line extension. You know what, though? Amway had a third S-curve, the most powerful of all. Took the company from $2 billion in sales clear up into the $9 and $10 billion range. And what was that about? That was about multinational expansion. Boy, that's a critically important thought as we now look at where we find this company, MonaVie, a company that has had one unbelievable, remarkable season of growth in the United States, but which now embarks upon, I promise you, the beginning of a second and far more powerful S-curve than the first, because this MonaVie juggernaut, which has set itself apart, become singular, unique, and distinct in the United States, is about to set itself apart in the world. That's about to happen. It's been proven before, but it's never been proven by a company with all the special dynamics of MonaVie. There are other companies that have experienced these multiple S-curves. And by the way, why is this important? Why is it important? It's important because I want you to know that I know that you can make a career decision to be involved with MonaVie. This can be what you do. This can be the once and forever, the all-time. This can be from now until the end of your career. This can be from now until the end of your life, and it can be passed on to your family members. Why? Because multiple S-curves can't exist. MonaVie is about to enter a second S-curve of profound importance. Who else has had multiple S-curves? Well, Nu Skin has had multiple S-curves. The first one, profound growth in the United States. The second S-curve in Nu Skin's case was what? It was divisional diversification, as they went from being Nu Skin alone to being Nu Skin and another division. Big Planet provoked a second S-curve. ID and Pharmaceuticals provoked another S-curve. And then multinational expansion provoked another S-curve. Herbalife has had multiple S-curves. Sunrider has had multiple S-curves. In this evolution of network marketing, what have we learned? We have learned that though a company goes through a profound and dramatic season of growth, that need not imply that it's over once and for all. That in fact can suggest, and has suggested in the very best and the finest, that it's setting the stage for a bigger, more dramatic season of growth to come, and history has suggested that the largest incomes are provoked by those who arrive for S-curve 2 or for S-curve 3. There's some other very, very important things that we can learn by studying the history of our industry. I have been and remain a student of this industry of network marketing. I believe that there is no reason to make a mistake. There's a big enough model. Now, we will know for sure what tomorrow has in store for us when tomorrow comes. But I believe that the best way to accurately predict the future is to carefully and critically study the past. There are a few things that we know. One thing we know is that if the product or service has downward price pressure, there can be no compensation plan stability. See, there are no new mistakes in network marketing. There are new people making old mistakes and old people making old mistakes, and sure enough, that sadly came to be. Well, what are the lessons? The lessons are that in order for us to confidently enter the arena with the anticipation of long-term success, it must be predicated, the business model itself must be predicated on the consumption of a physical, tangible, consumable item. This is what the industry has shown. If there is a product which has the capacity to change the way that a person looks, change the way they feel about themselves, or in a meaningful, a measurable, not simply anecdotal way improve their health, then there is a fundamental value that will survive a challenge. And here's what I have learned. I have learned that the price of health-related products and the price of appearance-related products is always pushed up by the conventional business enterprise. Ask yourself this question. If you happen to be a woman and you're reviewing this, when did you last see Marcella Borghese, Estée Lauder Clinique lower their prices? Never. Personal appearance product prices go up. That's why companies like Nu Skin, skincare products, Sunrider, personal care products, that's why they're able to have stable compensation plans, because there is an outside the network marketing industry support for those pricing models. Well, I guess my message here is that there is a long past. There's a history. We can learn from it. We can then look at that history. We can apply the entire history to MonaVie. And we can then also take into consideration MonaVie's experience during its first 4 years, and we can arrive at a considered, well thought out conclusion that there is something special here. Let's learn a lesson from